Hello, RAP students. This is Dr. Smith here to talk to you today about some test-taking strategies. It is going to be time to start thinking about your end-of-grade testing, or even during the school year you have testing. It's never a bad idea to practice taking tests. Of course, some people feel that tests are kind of bogus and they don't truly test what you know. However, we all must take them. So if we're going to have to take them, we want to do our best and pass the test as best as we can, okay? So today I am going to do test-taking strategies for multiple choice questions. Just because I start out with that because most tests nowadays are multiple choice. So we'll go ahead and get started. There's about 10 different tips or strategies for you. And please, when you get these strategies, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do other strategies that people have suggested, like your school teachers. What it is you look at maybe a different approach, or maybe there's something they don't do that you may incorporate that works for you. But the key thing is that you take practice tests or do practice questions. I'm sure your teacher will have them and you can get them online. The Department of Public Instruction has released tests and things like that. You can use whatever strategies people give you and come up with what works best for you, okay? So the first strategy when you're doing your strategies is to read test directions carefully. Some people may think that this is something that you don't need to necessarily put as a part of your list. However, how often have you heard of people taking a test and they misunderstood the directions? And maybe you were supposed to put the letter or the number in a certain place, or maybe the teacher didn't want you to do a certain thing, but you didn't read directions carefully. So that's why it's important for you to read the directions at all times and make sure you understand what is expected of you when you're taking the test. Now, the next one is to, once you've read the question the first time, you can reread the question, especially if you are new to test taking or you're just trying to become better at it. Reread the question. Make sure you answer what is being asked, okay? So let's write this down, and you should be writing it too. That's the reason I'm writing this. You need to have your list every time. So every time you're practicing this, that you'll have the list. After a while, you won't need the list, okay? So you're going to reread the question. What did I say the next part was? Let's see. Make sure you understand what's being asked. Now, the reason that you need to make this a part of your list is because, especially when you're doing word problems, sometimes they'll give you a bunch of information, and some of the information you don't need to solve the question, to solve the problem. And so you always want to make sure you know what exactly is the question they're wanting you to answer. So that sometimes they'll put a little tricky answer in the choices that answer some other question, and you'll think that you're answering the right question and you're not, okay? So you must make sure that you understand what the question is, what you need to answer, okay? 3, when you've reread the question, you need to underline or circle keywords or whatever is going to help you solve the problem. So, for example, in some questions, they'll have what tell me something that is similar, or they'll put do not do something, or that kind of thing. So you might want to circle not, or what something is like something else. So that's good to go ahead and circle and underline things so that you'll have all your information organized and you'll be ready to go and answer the question. So let's write down number 3. Underline or circle keywords, etc. Etc. meaning whatever else you think is important that you need to remember. Okay? Now, number 4. I hope you guys are writing these down. Come up with the answer before looking at answer choices. Now, what I have to say about this one is, for example, with math, it can work really well. If it's a basic problem like a division problem, a multiplication problem, you can go ahead, once you understand what they're asking you, you can solve certain things and then look at the answer choices to see if it's there. Now, in some cases, it may not work. It just depends on what the question is. Sometimes there's nothing for you to solve. You just have to go and look at the answers and find the one that is either not like the others, or it's just the one that you can mark off as being correct, and the other ones are just not correct at all. Okay, so just keep in mind all of these don't always apply to every question. So let's go ahead and write number 4 down. Come up with the answer before you look at the answer choices. All right. I think we can fit one more. Number 5. Read all of the answers. So sometimes people feel like they know the answer. They've looked at the answer choice A. Oh, that's it. And they didn't read everything else. And sometimes there's a better answer. So you need to read all answers, and you can cross out the ones that don't make any sense. Sometimes there's ones that just don't make sense, or they're just not correct. They're incorrect, okay? So make sure you read all of the answers. So now, number 6, look carefully at similar sounding answers and find the best answer. So whether it's numbers or whether it's words, you can have answer choices that kind of rearrange some of the words and mean something totally different, as I said before. You want to make sure that you read through each one carefully so that you don't get tripped up, okay? And even if you find 2 of the 3 questions that seem to be the right answer, doesn't mean, if they're asking for one answer, that means that you need to go back and look at the choices again and find the best answer. So you may have an answer that's not necessarily incorrect, but there's another answer that does a better job at answering the question, okay? So number 6, look carefully at similar sounding answers. And then choose the best answer or find the best answer. Find the best. I'm going to put best in capital letters and underline it. Answer. Number 7, select all of the above if 2 or 3 answers seem correct. If the directions ask for one answer, then you do what the directions said. If they have all of the above there, now that makes the test a little more challenging because you could be tripped up. You may think there are a couple of answers that are correct, but they may not be. So you need to make sure you read each answer choice carefully, okay? And then in the end, if you are certain that there are 2 or 3 that are correct and they have all of the above, you can go for it, okay? Number 8. You want to make sure that you pace yourself. So if you have some questions that you find to be a little more challenging, a little difficult, and you need to spend a little bit more time on them, you might want to mark them and come back to them after you finish the easier ones. Now, I'm going to put this on my list. However, I want you to remember that I said that your teacher at school will have a list of strategies for you probably, and you need to follow those. Now, when you're practicing, if you find that there's one that conflict with my answer the easy ones first and then go back to the harder ones, try the way that your teacher at school said to do it, and if it consistently doesn't work, then you can switch to this one, okay? So let's write that one up here. Number 9, very important. Answer all of the questions. With multiple choice questions, as far as I know, with testing in elementary school, you are to answer all the questions. That doesn't, you're not penalized for attempting to answer all the questions. Now, sometimes your teachers may say that you should stick with one letter when you don't know what the answer is to a question. They may say stick to one letter, and whenever you don't know, use that one letter. I'm not going to say that because some may not. In certain testing situations, as you get older and get into tests for college and things like that, they a lot of times say that. But for elementary, I would say right now the best thing is just to make sure you answer the question. There's a chance you might get it right, just by chance. If you got A, B, C, and D, if you don't answer it, there's no chance of you possibly getting it right. But if you answer it at least you have a chance of just getting it right somehow, okay? So make sure you answer all of the questions. All right, and 10, once you've finished and you've answered all the questions, you can review your answers. There may be certain ones that you may want to go back to even after you've gone back to the more difficult ones and you made sure you answered everything. If there's something that you would like to review, or you want to make sure that you circled different answers in completely, then you do that at the very end, okay? Now, the biggest thing, and I wish I could write it somewhere just so much so that you won't forget, is practice, practice, practice. That's how you get better at testing, especially since it's not normal for people to just take a bunch of tests. So it's important that you practice taking tests so that you are better at finding answers more quickly. You can read through things and comprehend, meaning understand things a lot better and quicker when you get used to doing it. So make sure that you continue to get practice questions And if you have done all the questions that your teacher has given you, you can actually go find practice questions. We now have internet. We didn't when I was younger. So now that you have the internet, you can find practice questions. You can even go to NCDPI and they have released tests, and you can look through those tests and practice your test taking strategies. So I'm glad that I could talk to you guys today about this, and I hope that you will take this seriously, keep your list, get some questions and go over it. Of course, I'm going to do the same with you, but I want you to also take the initiative to go and find some things for yourself. So, as I always like to say, it's important for you to exercise your mind as well as your body. So make sure you're exercising your body also, and I'll see you soon.